Good afternoon. It's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the afternoon news and weather update we do here every day at 2:30, Monday through Friday. We'll start off with a look at the forecast and then transition over to your news headlines for the day with Jamie and Rob. So you don't want to go anywhere and get everything you need for your news and weather. But looking at our weather headlines to start us off this afternoon, we are still tracking out a few spotty storms across the tri-state. Heat will then continue to build as we go through the end of the work week and into the weekend, and it looks like we're also trending on the drier side for both Saturday and on Sunday. So let's take a look at our current radar. We've got a few of those heavier showers now pushing through southern Illinois. One up towards Wayne County there just moved through Fairfield. We've got a few lightning strikes in there. And we've got a few heavier downpours just to the northwest of Grayville, south of Albion, and then another lone shower there just to the west of Princeton. Again, we'll continue to see that possibility of a couple more of those spotty showers to develop this afternoon before the sun sets, and then everything will kind of subside overnight. Now, we aren't outlooked for any heavy rainfall, but of course, with the humidity being so high, we could see some locally heavy rain with any storm that develops, but at least it looks like the flooding risk backed off a little bit, and we're not on outlooked for any sort of severe storms, just your typical run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. However, it is still possible that some of those gustier downbursts may produce some wind damage with that. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. However, most of these showers and storms should remain innocent and fairly isolated, so I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for us through the rest of this evening. But here's a look at our future radar. You can see our model picking up on just a couple of those spotty showers and storms, and then after the sun sets, everything generally quiets down through the overnight hours. We'll be left with partly cloudy skies, and then even some patchy areas of fog will be possible as well. But outside right now, temperatures have warmed all the way up mostly into the upper 80s. Folks that are seeing those showers move through southern Illinois, getting some of that rain-cooled air right now. 75 degrees in Fairfield, 90 in Grayville, and around 88 here in Evansville. And then you look at your feels-like temperatures, because it is humid out there, it does feel like we're in the low to mid-90s for most spots. 93 in Newburgh, Henderson, and Evansville, feeling like 100 all the way out towards Lewisport. Now, as we go through the rest of this evening, again, outside of a stray shower or a storm, we should be fairly quiet with partly cloudy skies. Temperatures will drop down into the lower 70s, and then we also do have that potential for some patchy areas of fog to develop, especially for folks that do see any shower or storm through this afternoon. So keep that in mind, especially for the early morning commute tomorrow. You definitely want to use some extra caution and give yourself a little extra time to get where you need to go in case you enter some more dense pockets of fog. But looking ahead to tomorrow, we'll warm right back up into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, and then again that chance for a stray shower, very similar to what we saw today. So almost like a rinse and repeat forecast for our Thursday. And here's a look at what that looks like on our future radar. Mostly sunny with a few spot showers possible in the afternoon with the heating of the day, and then after the sun sets, we'll start to see any convection begin to dissipate. Now, the good news is it looks like high pressure will be building in as we head towards the weekend, so that will squander pretty much any rain chances that we have headed towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and even keeping us relatively dry through the start of next week. However, that is going to allow for the heat to continue to build. Looking at our temperature trend through the 19th through the 23rd, it looks like we're still going to remain at least slightly above average. And here's a look at just a little sneak peek of what we can expect for temperatures this weekend. Back up into the low to mid 90s by Friday, so 93, and then all the way up towards 95 and 96 for Saturday and Sunday with mostly sunny skies. Now, it doesn't look like the humidity is going to be too over the top during that time frame, so those heat index values are generally below that heat advisory criteria, but it is still possible we see maybe the temperature increase a little bit more, or we start to see that humidity increase a little bit more, and then that sends us over that heat advisory level. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for the weekend, but up until then, our heat index values will just generally remain in the mid to upper 90s through Friday, so not in the danger zone, but still something you want to be keeping an eye on, making sure you're drinking plenty of water, especially if you're going to be running around outside. But looking at our temperature trend, we will be warming up here through the weekend, well above average, but the good news is it doesn't look like it lasts very long. It starts to cool right back down to around average by this time next week. So the middle of next week, Wednesday, we'll be right back up into the back down into the upper 80s. And here's a look at your dew point trend. Remaining fairly consistent here. We've been stuck in that muggy category all of last week. Dew points in the upper 60s to lower 70s. That will likely continue here through the end of this week and into next. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. If that starts to kind of pop up a little bit more and that would increase our heat index values, of course, we'd let you know. And if there was any heat advisory, we would have an alert for you. But that is all I have for the forecast. Let me just wrap it up here with a look at your 7-day forecast. We've got, again, beautiful weather through this weekend. So we've got another day tomorrow, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, a spot shower or two, but warming up to around 90, and then continuing to heat up here through the end of the work week, topping out in the low to mid 90s, even into next week. Mostly sunny through the weekend. Shower and storm chances don't really return to the forecast in large until the middle of next week. So enjoy the warmer, drier weather ahead of us here, but we do have some thunderstorms out there right now, and then again possible for tomorrow. But taking a look at some of the comments, Laura Gray, she's watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for tuning in. William says he's got zero rain other than a few drops in the night. He says he really does need rain over here by Bosse Field. The grass is brown and dusty. Well, hopefully you can get maybe an innocent little shower to come on in and bring you some rain. But otherwise, it's just going to be these hit or miss storms through today and tomorrow, and then it looks like we dry out for the weekend. So that's all I've got here. I'm going to hop off the live stream, but don't go anywhere. We've got our news headlines up next with Jamie and Rob.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I am Robinson Miles. As we pass the midpoint through this week, the back-to-school fun just keeps happening. You thought it was over. You were very wrong. Well, USI Move-In started today, and UE Move-In starts tomorrow. So at USI, housing staff help students and parents check in, find their buildings, and unpack. Now, this marks the first day of USI Welcome Week.
Yeah, officials say they're welcoming about 500 new students this year. Now over to UE. Students start moving into their dorms tomorrow. School officials are reminding families to just be prepared for the intense heat during move-in as they carry all the heavy boxes. Campus leaders say they have several days of welcoming activities planned, like a canoeing trip and a silent disco on campus. Plus, next Monday, August 18th, before classes even start, all incoming students will participate in the service project. They will spend the day helping local nonprofits and organizations across Evansville and Vanderburgh County.
Very exciting, very fun. I remember, I brought this up a while ago, so I'm sorry to the 13 people still watching this when you're going to get a repeat story. But when I started college, I had some weird personal thing come up, so I couldn't be there for the first week. And so if I remember right, I'm pretty sure my mom went to freshman orientation and all of those beginning events on my behalf. So, yeah,
I
I
can
mean,
just picture your mom at like the welcoming event, the silent disco. Like, I'm just here for my son.
yeah, oh, 100%. See, the bad thing about that is she is the nicest woman, and so definitely getting me on campus was a letdown to all the people who met her at
People
these things.
probably thought that your mom was their like new classmate.
Was like the coolest.
and then they were disappointed when you showed up. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
100%. Oh, I know myself pretty well. That is
kidding.
not inaccurate. Well, moving on to our next story today. A fun fact for your afternoon. It is actually International Armadillo Day. Now, of course, what better way to celebrate that than Mesker Park Zoo giving us a first look at their newest animal. A 3-banded armadillo was born at the zoo on August 1st.
Yeah, zoo officials say that it is the second 3-banded armadillo birth in the zoo's history. Proud mom there, Paulina, and her tiny pup are currently off exhibit. They are spending these first crucial weeks bonding together. Zoo officials say they will continue to monitor the new pup closely, and they'll share any updates with us as well. But you can see in these pictures they shared, they're checking out his little heartbeat. And we're told he's healthy. So I say he, she, we aren't sure yet. We don't know the name or the gender, so we're waiting on that as well.
So cute. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Adorable.
For sure.
Now, one thing that people don't get to see is that, of course, when the shows are going, you know, we'll take a story, and Jamie and I will oftentimes talk throughout, and that's how I found out for an armadillo story we had yesterday that she is legitimately freaked out by armadillos.
I think they look so creepy. And
What?
I don't like the way that they like have little finger. They creep me out.
skittering feet?
That
Yeah.
and a possum. I don't like possums. They freak me out too. Those are the two. Armadillos and possums are just gross. to
Well,
me.
that was going to be my banter. So I was going to ask, like, what animal freaks you out? It's like, I would be shocked if there was an animal that freaks you out
It's
more
armadillo,
than, like,
but also
oh, yeah.
a possum is not.
visceral reaction
Oh my
that we had
gosh,
from you
no.
yesterday
Yeah,
for Gabe's
I couldn't
story,
stand to
which
watch
is
the
very
video
good.
of the armadillo, but that little guy is cute. I think it's because
Oh,
he's a
so
baby and he's
cute.
still very innocent, and I don't know, they're just gross to me.
Listening in on his heart.
It is kind of cute. It's cute.
Right, come on. See, mine is always weird because I grew up in a place that was really cold, and so we didn't get a lot of creepy crawlies or anything like that.
We got
So-
plenty here.
Oh, boy, do we. And for some reason, frogs, in any of their iterations,
What? I once
scare me
collected
to
a bunch of
death.
frogs in a shoebox and brought them
That's
inside
the
when
most
I was a
frightening
child.
thing I've ever heard you say to me, ever. They terrify me, and part of it is I'm really jumpy. So the fact that they don't have like a middle speed, they're moving very quickly, or they're
Oh.
just sitting there with them big old bulbous
Well,
eyes.
welcome to Southern
freak me
Indiana. We
out.
got them everywhere.
Yeah, did not love that. Realized they come up near the station when I'm walking to my car after work at like 11. That was a great surprise.
Well, that's good. You'll get used to it.
I hope. I mean, I'm 5 years in now, and I'm not there yet. So there we go. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Of course, we have all these stories and a whole lot more ahead at 14 News at 4, 5, and 6, and of course later this evening at 10.
All right, that'll wrap things up this afternoon. Thanks for watching. Have a great